hopefully we'll try to create the main services, mainly the mail, and then the DNS. And if we have time, we'll go through LVS. Okay, so if, for example, that's because, as I said, I haven't done the email. I done the DNS yesterday as a test, but not on this one, the one that you're seeing, this from scratch. You will do everything now in front of you from scratch. Okay, let's get started now. So first we'll start with DNS. So I'll switch now from, just for, to make it easy, I'll switch from the normal user now, as you can see, edu, and that's my host name here. So I switch from that user to root, okay? So just to avoid, sometimes you forget to put sudo or something, so will be root from the start. And we'll start install packages and then start the configuration. So we'll start with the DNS and some other packages or some other configuration before we finishing the configuration of the DNS. These installation of some packages. So switching now to root, I'm root now. So apt get update. If it's not updated, it will update the database, and then get install and bind 9. That's the package for the DNS, right? So now we install the package. Yes, tell me, do you want to install or do you want to continue? Yes. Yeah, done. And then we need to check the permission of the bind library. So ls minus ld, and then we'll go, okay. We'll check the permission because sometimes this makes some issues, okay? It needs to be not permission even, the ownership of that directory. So as you can see, must be root, the owner of that directory, and the primary group must be bind. Now we're going to install the LXC. So we will put LXC. And if you don't want to apt-get program to ask you, do you want to continue? Then you can do this, put at the end -y. Okay, this already installed before anything, just was for HA. Okay, now we need to create 2 containers because we'll use these containers for the mail. So I know that's, I said at the beginning, I will configure first the DNS. However, this part of the whole configuration, because we'll do the DNS and the mail server on this virtual machine. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's we create container or containers. Just I'll put this variable key server equal, then key server. You can use the MIT key server or Ubuntu key server. So I'll use ubuntu.com. Yeah, and then we need to create the container. So LXC create, take space, and then we'll take T for template, and we'll take download template from the internet. We'll download that from the internet, and we'll put a name for that container, and then we'll put double dashes, and then D distribution Ubuntu, and then the code name of that distribution, which is focal, yeah, which is, I think, version in numerical value 20.04, yeah, and then the architecture AMD 64-bit. That's it. And then we wait until we download this, and that's going to be the first container, which is test1.local. We're going to create another one. As you can see, this is now downloading now, but the second one is telling you using image from local cache. So it's not downloading now. So just unpacking the rootfs, and once done, we'll have 2 containers. So that's the second step. The third one we need to configure static IP for both of these containers, test2.local, test1, and then test2.local. So we need to go through, of course, you can use whatever you want. I mean, in terms of editor, if you are familiar with VI, then go ahead and use VI. If you are familiar with Nano, go ahead and use Nano or gedit or whatever. Okay, you don't need to use VI. We'll go through varlib and then LXC, yep, and then the name of the image test1 local, root FS, and then etc. etc is just the directory where we put most of the configuration files. And we'll go netplan, and we'll go 10-lxc.yaml, which is database. Right, so here we go. We need to add some entries here, and we need to keep the format of this file. So we'll keep network and then colon version colon 2 Ethernets, okay, Ethernet 0 or F0, and then DHCP true, DHCP 4 will make it no, because we need static IP. That's the first thing we need to change. And then I will add some entries, addresses, and then I will put the address that I want to use, 3, and then 31, and then 8. So I'll put this, the first one, 31, the second one will be 32. And then gateway, we need to align this into the same line. Gateway 4, yeah, and then we'll put the main IP of the container, which is 1. And then we'll put named server, which is a DNS, I mean like external DNS. You don't need to put that, but we'll do it. Named servers. And then we'll put addresses. Yeah, we'll put Google one, which is 8.8.8.8. Yeah, and we'll leave this MAC, which is DHCP identifier dash identifier MAC. We'll leave this. That's the MAC address. I mean, thing, which is will take whatever serial number of your physical or virtual network interface and align this with the network. Okay, then we'll do the same thing. Yeah, I'll copy this, or I can do that. I can copy this like this. Cat. Yeah, be careful here. Be careful what I'm doing here. Just I'm appending. Appending means I will write at the end of the file. Okay, and I will change test1 to test2. Okay, be careful here. You see this 2 greater than symbols? That's to append. If I put only 1, means I will override this. Okay, so yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, I said that I'll change this to test2. Yeah, sorry. Okay, and then let me check the test1. Yeah, everything okay. So I'm gonna go now test2. Yeah, we need to configure on both virtual machines. So I will remove that line, all of these, because we already copied them. Yeah, here we go. And I will go here, put here 2. That's it. Done. Okay. Now, in order to, that's one of the things that some of you guys send me a few emails about it. That's, you know, you go back, you start the container, log in within the container, or LXC, you attach yourself to the container, and then the IP address is not there. Yeah, because we need to do one step, which is I'm going to do it now just to finish this. I will open a terminal here, another one, okay, for test1 first. Okay, so I'll just root. So LX, first we need to start the container. LX C start, and then the container name. Okay, so this one is started already. Okay, and 2 as well. So we'll start with 1 and then 2. And then if you want to log in, of course you can now start it if you know the IP address and you have a user, I mean you created a user, so of course you can from this terminal you can SSH to that one. Of course you enable SSH, you install SSH, enable it, and you log in using SSH. However, there's a nice and handy command provided by LXC that we can attach ourselves now or make like login to that each one of these virtual machine. It's called LXC attach. Don't start just to start to boot up the container, and the second one to log in. Okay, so test1.local. Yeah, I'm now on test1, and I will go out. Of course, I can open a new terminal and log in into test2. Okay, let's do that. All right. Okay. So I mean, we can do this 2 things in one. Again, now I don't need to start because we started here test2. So I just attach now, and then test2 local. Great. So I now logged in to test2 and here test1. This very important command now. It's called net plan apply. That will apply the configuration of the network that we done here. Don't be confused again. We done this configuration on the main machine. This white terminal here, that's the main machine. These the containers. Test1 here, container 1, and container 2. So we done the configuration of the network for both containers from the main machine. And I'll do the same thing here. We need to apply what configuration we have done. So if I type fconfig is not there, so I will install fconfig here. So update and then and apt-get install. The package is called net-tools and then y at the end. We'll do the same thing on here. Okay, and reset. So for you guys to see, and I type fconfig, I should see now 10.0.3.32. Here you go. Everything correct. Yeah. And here I will install net tools -tools, and I should, if I type fconfig, I should see 10.0.3.31. So let's go ahead and install NetTools. NetTools just to provide us with fconfig, and then -y. I don't think I need update. It's already updated. Yeah, done. Fconfig. I should see now 31, which is great. So now we have 31, 32, and 31 is for test1, 32 for test2. Great. Let's try to ping 10.0.3.1. That's the gateway. Perfect, working. And then 32, perfect, working. And we'll do the same here. Make sure that we can ping the gateway. Fine. And then 31. Let me count 3 only. And this will ping or send 3 ICMP. Great. So everything working now. So I don't need this 2 now because we need to configure the DNS now instead of doing ping using IP addresses. So we will try to use domain. Okay, great. Now we installed bind already. It was the first step. And now we need to do this step here. It's a very important one as well. So before doing anything, before restart the service, because by default, once you install the service, it will be restarted or started. But now, before this, we need to force the DNS to use IP version 4. So we'll go to this file /etc/default. And by the way, this you're going to find the same thing on Parrot and Debian. I'm using Debian, I think, let me check. Debian 11 something. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, 11. I think that's the main release, but mine, I think 11.1. Right? And that's the code name for this one. So, but this will work for Parrot as well. And then default, and then not bind here. The file here is called named, not bind, named. And you see that one? -u bind. So I'll add -4. That's it. That's the first one. Okay, done. So copy that, and we need to restart the service. So I have two ways. You can type service named status first, check running. As I said, see, got here some issues here. So forget about this now. What we need is this running, active running. Okay, we'll try to fix all of these, but for now, we need to restart the service just to make sure that's this -4 that we added already there. I mean, we apply. Oh, type start. Okay, let's go status again. Good. Yeah, we still have. You see the errors a bit different now. Well, okay, so all right. So we've done the first configuration. We need now to create the zone. We need to create a file where we're going to put some records. So what I will do is I will go through this file. Okay. Let me go inside the directory bind and show you what inside that directory. ls. This is the database where I can create this zone configuration, add records, and this where I define the domain name. So I will go and edit that file. Okay. All right, so I'll go all the way to the end, copy one of these, or just I will write them down. I'll put here zone, and then I'll call the zone name spacegate.com. That's my domain. Yeah, you call it whatever you want. And then we go here, type, and the type master. Yeah, and then, oh, sorry, that's semicolon. And then I need to point to the zone file where I will put the data. I mean the record. Oh, sorry, file. And then you see that's important. You cast whatever you write here within double quote, and then etc bind, and then db, and then space gate.com. And I need to create that file. That file does not exist. I need to create that file, and I end up with this. See, don't forget that semicolon here at the end of the file. Right? So I need to create that file from scratch now. I can't copy. I will. Oops. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and create that file. That file does not exist, as you can see. Can you see something called db.spacegate.com? No. So I'll create the file. It will be blank file. However, I might copy one of these ones to make my life easier. What I will do is create that file, spacegate.com. You call that file whatever you want, and then read from the local one. So db local, just to give me like this. Okay, I need to remove these lines. Okay, I'll put serial number here too. I'll keep it. However, I'll go change some of this. So do that, S, and then just I will substitute whatever word starting with localhost by this space gate.com, and then put G global. Great. Okay. However, some records now, which will help us while we do the mail server. I mean, of course, now we're creating DNS, but this will help for the mail server. So I need to change that 127.0.0.0.1, and of course, add more entries or data. And every time you change or modify that file, you need to change that serial number. So I will put 3 here. I'll keep these values as they are, and now I will put here this one should be okay. That's the name server, not a problem. So I will delete these. I will add more now. So first of all, I'll put mail.space.gate.com, and at the end you put dot, and then we'll put a record, and we'll put IP address, which is that's the mail server, which is one. Okay, which is this terminal, not the 2 containers. So that's the first entry. The second one, I think we need the first entry to be the space gate itself. That's the domain, so I need to put an IP address related to this domain, and that's the standard record, and put 10.0.3.1. and then the mail done. So we'll put here test1.space.gate.com, and then regular, and then 31 regular records, and then test2 space.gate.com, and then NA10.0.3.32. Yeah, and then the mail server, because we already defined the mail server here, second line. So we put here something like wildcard, and then MX records, and here the priority of that mail server, because sometimes you may have 2, 3 mail servers. So which one you want the mail server to like act first. So the less number means more priority. So if you have 2, maybe you give the first one 5, the second one 10, and so on. And then we put mail space gate.com, and then dot. Remember to put the dot at the end. That's it. Okay. So now we went through this file here. Yeah. etc default name, and we added -4 just for the DNS to use IP version 4. Okay, and then we went to this file, name zone, and we added the zone of our domain. You put here whatever you want, .com or .net, .org, whatever, and the file of the database where we can put the records. And I created this already, and I added these values. Of course, you can add, if you have more subdomains, or you want to create more subdomains, you can add, and of course, like link this or associate the name with an IP, because that's the idea, is we resolve a name to an IP, right? So great. Now, that's the third file. The first file was /etc/default/name. The second one, that's the fourth file. The second one was name.conf.default-zones. And the third one, the zone file of your domain, which is db.whatever your domain is.com. And then the third one is this file. The fourth one is this file. It's called named the conf.options. And we'll do this. That's important if you want to like forward any request does not exist in your zone to the internet. So what we'll do, we'll go here, forwarders here, and we'll remove these two lines, and we'll put here Google DNS. Okay. This tab, up to you. If you want to make it local, you don't need to do that. If you don't want this and you want, everyone who's going to use your DNS wants to go through the internet, in case that's the domain they are searching for does not exist in your file, then you can use that. And then I will put underneath this one here, go here, just and put here, listen, yeah, on, then port, then 53. That's the default one. And then we need to put like any IP, any connection, I mean, and then end with this, okay? And then here, we'll do this. We'll do this, and instead of auto here of the DNS security extension, we don't need validation. That's might give some issues unless we configure DNS security extension. And then DNS sec again, and then enable, and then yes. Okay. And then authentication of the next domain. No, we don't want that for now. And then we'll do this, allow transfer. Okay, and this will going to be the local host at 127. You see now I'm getting space, guys. You see here there is a space. Yeah, there is space here and space here to the right and left. Same thing here. So all of these things, you may forget that space. You may get an error and so on. So be careful. And even like, you see, we end up with semicolon here inside the curly brackets and outside as well. Same here. That's how it is. That's how the syntax of this file. So I need to add more line, and then allow query from whatever here. That's more or less something like access list. Okay. So we'll allow queries from, of course, the local host. I mean, local host on that machine. Yeah. And then from our network, which is 0, 0, 0, and then /8 and space. Okay. So we'll put this here. That's what I have added, right? Good. Let's start the service and see what will going to happen here. So we'll do this. I showed you already service and the name of the service, and then start or status or restart. However, I will show another way of doing this. That's the init script. When you type service command, we'll call that. So I will put here named and then status first. Same thing. You see now you get the same output. And then start or restart in that case. Restart. Hopefully no issues. Yeah, we got an issue here. Something wrong here. Options. So what I will do is put this down and open a new terminal, and I will check the logs. Tail -f and /var/log/syslog, which is going to show us what's happening here. Okay, so okay, so I will fail to start bind domain name server, exit code, whatever. Okay, let me restart again and see. Oh, it's telling me now something. Oh, type. Ah, okay. We have something here, DNS sec enable, obsolete and should be removed. Okay, that's warning. However, we have in that file something. Okay, let me check that file then. Let's say put something. Oh, you see, I put here colon, no colon here. See, something very, very trivial. Right. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, keep that one here. And let me clear the syslog and restart and see what we'll get. Oh, good. Nothing wrong. Status. Great. You see, even the errors gone. Okay, good. Now we should be able to test the DNS. Okay, first, we need to let that machine and, of course, the containers to point to that DNS. So we're going to go to this, to here. Okay, vi/etc/resolve.conf. That's the client. See now is a totally, that's that name server from my local network. Okay, that's my local IP, and this, of course, that's the version 6 of that of my local network. And LAN, that's the name of my network. Okay, so what I will do this now is I'll type name server, and I'll point to our DNS now. That's very important, like, step, because what will going to happen is you will use your own DNS, which is not related to what we have done. So you will get, you know, it might be a domain is called spacegate.com. So I will go to that domain, which is something we don't want. We want to resolve something local, what we have done. Okay, so we'll do this, and now I'll put this. We'll put like mail spacegate.com. We should resolve now one. Perfect. Okay, great. So let's put here spacegate.com. Perfect. One, because that's what we already configured our DNS to resolve, that IP. Let's check test 1 and test 2. See, test 1, great, 31, perfect, and test 2 should be 32. Perfect. Yeah. Now we have a DNS. Let's use some of the DNS diagnosis tools like dig, and we put spacegate.com. Working perfect. And as you can see, we use our DNS server because I already let the client to point to that server. Now we got something working, and even the errors that we have seen gone. So everything okay now. So great. Now we need to do the same thing on both test 1 containers, I mean, test 1 and test 2. So we'll do this /etc/resolve.conf. And of course, that's coming from the local DNS. So we need to remove this and change this and let this to point to 031. Yeah, great. And let's see. And we'll start with this guy here, and mail space gate space, not a.com. Should get 1. Perfect. Working. Great. So let's check test 2. Yeah, because we are on test 1. So test 2. Yeah. Yeah. Working. Perfect. We got DNS. We do the same thing here on 2. Let me reset this. etc resolve.conf. That's the client, not the server. We done the server here, guys. Okay. So, and I already configured the client on that server, on the DNS server, just to show you how the DNS works. Okay. So we'll do the same thing. Remove that option and just replace that IP with our IP, which is 10.0.3.1. Okay, and let's test. space gate.com. Should get 1, perfect, and then test 1, we should get 31. 1, yeah, great. So the DNS working, done. Let's do the mail server now. Okay, that's the main one. So you have DNS, you don't need to use etc hostess. So I'll move this now because we're gonna install some packages now and go out from that folder. Go back to root. Yep, now I'm on my home directory. Okay, so now we will do now. Let's check if we can use dig, for example, to retrieve something from the internet. So let's say dig ibm.com. If this will gonna work. Yeah, it's working. Why? You remember the forwarders? We point to 8.8.8. Now, yeah, we can access the internet and we can go now from any of these VMs, containers, or even the main one. So I can put here Red Hat.com. Dig is not there, so I think we need to install dig. DNS utilities, yes. Same thing here. Get install DNS utilities. Yep. Okay. Now we can install dig on both. So let me, yeah, working from the client, from the container as well. Dig Yahoo or Google. That's Google. Yep, working. So our DNS perfect. Forget about it now. We done it, and perfect. Now let's go ahead and do the mail server now. That's client 1, client 2, and then we'll do the mail server. So we need first to install some packages. I know that's the most important one. So Postfix, that's what we're going to use, and then Dovecot, Pop 3D, and Dovecot IMAP D. Might be in Parrot a bit different the names, but you will get that. And Dovecot, the main file. And then maybe if you want later to configure anti-spam. Yeah, and that is the packages that we need to install and installing. So now, internet site. Yep, and then now start configuring Dovecot and Postfix, like basic configuration, start the service and such. And once we're done, so we need to do, because Dovecot and Postfix on the same machine, do add one line for Dovecot for the client to be able to connect without any encryption or anything. Just for, that's not ideal. You shouldn't do that. You should configure TLS, which is, I will leave this to you guys. But for now, to give you an example, easy one. So I will do this configuration. I will go to this file. That's not Postfix yet. Okay, so Dovecot first, and I will go to conf.d and then 10.auth.com for authentication. And you see that one, disable plain text auth, and this yes, I'll change it to no. That's just to be able to connect, because otherwise I need to configure like SASL and TLS and such. But for now, I will leave this for you guys. I will leave two things for you. This one, security, and I told you during the tutorial. Now I'm helping you to do most of the a functional DNS and mail server. And for you guys, you need to do something as well. You need to do effort. So you will look at how to secure this, of course, and of course you will look at the spam filtering. And I told you this, I think 2 or 3 times. Okay, and then we need to restart the Dovecot service. Again, you can use my method here, /etc/init.d/ the service name, or you can put service Dovecot restart, okay? And then we need to go and check the service already started without any problems. Great, you can see here running, active, and all good. Perfect. So let's go now and configure Postfix, okay? So for Postfix, we need to go to this file, /etc/postfix main.cf. And then we'll go to this my destination, spacegate.com, and we'll add, okay, that's good. Okay, so we're gonna add here our local network. Okay, so we'll put here 10.0.0.3.0.0.8, which is including, of course, .3. Okay, anything here I need to add? I don't think so. Yeah, my host name, let me change that to spacegate. Okay, and see what we get. So I have spacegate.com, we have my host name, okay, which is spacegate.com. So I can remove this now. Yep, I can remove this. I don't need that. We don't need that. Localhost, yeah, local domain. Okay. Anything else we need to change for now? I don't think so. Okay. Let's restart this service again. Same thing. I'll replace this with Postfix and restart. And then status, just to check everything. Yeah, active. Okay, great. So let's now try to use the mail server from test one. However, we need first to add users on the mail server. Okay, so I'll do this. And -m to create home directory, and then shell will be bin bash, and then mail test 1, that's for user 1, and then 2 for user 2. I mean, mail test 1 for test.local1, test1.local, and mail test 2 for test2.local. Okay, great. So we have 2 users on the mail server. I haven't created them here. I created them here. Yeah, great. Let's now connect. I don't have telnet, so apt-get install telnet. Why do the same thing here? Apt-get install telnet. Yes, great. So reset so you can see from the beginning of the terminal. And now telnet mail, and then dot space, because we have DNS, 8.com 25. Great, working. I mean, working the connection. So I will point here to log file, because I need to check what's going on. We can recognize now the IP address. So I'll put here like hello to the server, and put mail. Great, spacegate, return back the name of the host name of the server, and then mail from mail test1 at spacegate.com. Okay, good. And then RC PT or recipient 2, then mail test2 which is this one here, at space date.com. Good. Then data subject, and then we'll put test1, and then this is a test, and put here number 1. Okay. Now look here, the white terminal here. Once I put the dot. Okay, great, removed, perfect, and we have Dovecot on that mail server. Let's now connect on POP3 to retrieve that email. Okay, on test 2, right? Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Telnet. Of course, I need to make yes, I need to add password for test 2. So I'm gonna do this here. Sudo su passwd mail test 2, and then I'll put 321. 321. Okay, great. Because I need the authentication here, especially for POP3 or IMAP. So telnet mail space gate.com, put 110. Here we are connecting to the SMTP. Here we are connecting to POP3. It's telling you here Dovecot POP3 because POP3 by default listening on port 110. So I'll put here user, and then put I should put the name. I should put user and then space the name. So I'll do this again. So user mail test 2. Yeah, great. And then pass. That's the point here. You remember the one that's I added disable plain text auth or authentication equal no. Because of this, you see here plain text. Yeah, logged in. Great. So let's see how many messages I have. So I'll put stat. I have 1 message, as you can see here, 1, and this number is the size of the message. So then I need to see the message. So I'll put retrieve or retr. Oops, I need to put 1. retr 1. Here's the message. Okay, guys, done. Mail server done. DNS done. Okay, done. If you want, this is from configuration point of view as a demo. Yeah, and you know, this configuration, you can scale it in a large scale. I mean, you add more like security features, spam filtering, SSL, and SASL authentication, all of these things. But as you can see, just like we done the mail server in just like 15 minutes, I think. Done, something working now. DNS, mail server, but ideally you need 2 SMTPs. What I have done is I used 1 mail server as SMTP for of course test 1 and test 2, but test 2 by itself should have its own SMTP, which is you can create one and add it to the DNS as well. But for a quick configuration, as you see, and that's what I want you to do. If you can do this, this is recorded already, and you add the security. Of course, do not use this plain text. I put the password, which is just created here. That's wrong. Anyone intercepting that connection, he'll be able, of course, to see my username and, of course, my password. So you figure out how to do that, and I think there is a document already on Blackboard to show you how to configure TLS. And if you remember, we said the TLS part or the encryption part or the security part from the client when I authenticated here and the server, not from the server and the server, or SMTP to SMTP. So I'm gonna go ahead now and show you the LVS. So now I'll follow now the document that I already created for LVS. I will just minimize this and go ahead and install the package for LVS apt get install is called IPVS ADM, and then -y. We have already the containers, and we created two. We have test one, test two. Just create a virtual IP. Okay, so the first tab I will do IPVS ADM, and then AT to create a virtual IP from the same range that we have. And then algorithm is going to be round robin. Okay, let's configure first two virtual machines. We're going to keep the IP addresses. In that document, we created web 1, web 2, and we created two different IPs, was 100 and 200, and then we'll keep the one that we have now, which is 3132. I forgot something here, guys. Should be port 80. Okay. So now this command here is just to create a virtual IP. That's what we'll use. And because the IP address is just from the same range, 10.0.3, then, and of course that's the main virtual IP. We will connect to that virtual IP on both containers. I will not change the IP addresses to 100 and 200. I'll keep 31 and 32. Now, what we need is to go now and configure the web server on both virtual machines, which is here. So I'll go here, start with this one first. Reset. I will do that. Apt get, I need to install Apache. Install curl first and Apache 2, and then Y. Yeah, same thing I need to do on the second one. So apt get install and Apache 2. And then I'll go on the first container, test one, create web server. I mean, not web server, web page, and make sure the web server running. And we'll see how we're gonna use the load balancer. Okay, so let's do this. Echo, just I'm creating a web page now, just simple one. And we'll put here, welcome to test one, okay? And then I put this into /var www.html, and then index. That is by default what the Apache or web server will look at, index HTML. Okay, done. We'll do the same thing here. Echo. Welcome to test 2 here. So we have test 1 and test 2, the other side. Then same thing, var www.html index HTML. Now let's test using curl. And we put here test 1 local, or just localhost. It's just local host. Yeah, great. Now we got welcome, that just the string that's just put here. Okay, we got it now. Same thing here. Then local host test 2. Great. So our simple web server working. Okay. Now we need now to change the port from port 80 to 8080 on both test 1 and test 2. Go through etc Apache to ports, the conf, and I'll put here 8080. Okay, same thing here. And 8080. Let me keep this one as it is. Just I'll put comment here. And do the same thing here. Yeah, just I'll put comment here. Okay. Great. So we need to restart the service in both. Apache 2 restart, and then status. We need to check the status of the service. Great. Same thing. Apache 2 restart, and then status. Yeah, both running. Okay. Now what we need is to do this on the main machine here. So we'll do this command ipvs admin, and then we put -a small t, and then we put the IP addresses, or the main virtual IP address that we created, and we'll point now from, because if you see now that we point that IP to port 80, so we'll change this to port 8080. You'll see now how we do that. 50, and then please from port 80 do this. Do 10.0.3.31, then port 8080. Okay, and then M. Great, and we'll do the same thing and change this to 32. Okay. What we have done here is we change the direction of the default port to point to this like redirection of any request, and instead of going to the main virtual machine, which is 50 on port 80, please forward this request to whatever real servers behind that load balancer, which is we have only two, 31 and 32, and of course go to port 8080 rather than 80. Great. Then we need to check this. We put ipvs admin -l. Yeah, everything seems to be okay. That's the main virtual machine. That's what we'll connect to, and these the real servers. So in real scenarios, the user, whoever wants to connect to your HTTP here or 3132, will not see these two IPs. We'll see only that IP. We call it floating IP or virtual IP. That's what you will see. Okay, so what we need now is just this. We'll use curl here. I need to install it. It's not installed. So apt get install, and then y, and we install it. And once I use this, I should see now, welcome to test 1 or test 2. Let's try. You see now, one time test 2, whatever the load balancer, like redirect the connection. So started with test 2, but when I run it again, test 1. So great, our load balancer working perfectly. Let's try this from here, from the main browser. So I'll put here, yeah, I'll put here 10.0.3.50. Yeah, test 2. We'll just clear the history. Test 1. Yeah, perfect. Our load balancer working. Okay, guys, I hope this to be useful for all of you.